Hello, everyone, and welcome to the October Ambassador-led Lumio webinar. I see so many of you in the chat from all over different time zones, and you know we love that. I just want to give you a little bit of housekeeping before I hand things over to our October Ambassador presenter, Carrie. So the first thing I want you to do is make sure that you are following Lumio Social and Smart Tech on all social media platforms, the ones you love and the ones you don't love. You're going to get information all over the place, and we want you to be in the know. We have lots of posts going out, and if you've been watching, you see things are changing, and we're ready to celebrate all the great work that you're doing on social. The second thing is, there may be a point when I get really excited about what you're saying, your comments, and what Carrie is sharing, and I might forget to give you the certificate link at the very end of the session. So make sure that you remind me if I've not done it yet as we're getting to the end. I do have a sticky note in front of me. And then the last thing is we want your questions. We want you to ask questions, engage, tell us what's going on in your district in relation to the topic that Carrie is going to be sharing. And if you're interested in Carrie's slide deck, you're welcome to ask her for that. Of course, we never share without our creator's permission, but we do have that in the background. So without further ado, Carrie from Texas, welcome. We're so excited to have you. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Really, really good. So tell us, Carrie, and everybody in the chat, what is the weather like where you are?
It's
October.
everybody's dream right now. Texas gets a few days of like pretend fall.
Oh, yeah.
Around this time, and we're in those days. So it's been great. We've gotten a little bit of rain, and we're in the like low 80s, which is really nice considering that our highs are usually 110 or so. So we're not headed into fall quite yet. We'll get there. But we're pretending right now.
Absolutely. Well, I'm also in Texas, and it still feels like summer. I see some of you from Texas. We're going to shout out to Jamie from Oklahoma. I see so many people. It's so fun to see. And so I'm just popping some names on here so that we can see where you're all from. We love to highlight the places that you're joining from. I see a fellow colleague of yours, Candace, is in the chat. Yes. So welcome, Candace, and everybody from Lubbock ISD. It's great to see you. So many people also joining from Canada as well. So all of you in the chat, be talking to each other, get to know each other. We want to build this ambassador community and community of Lumio and smart users. Carrie, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be muted, but I'm going to let you take it away. Is that good?
Absolutely. Okay. I'm so excited. So today we're really going to focus in on Lumio and what we can do for feedback. So that's kind of the goal of today. I want to start off just a little bit about me so that you know where I'm coming from. This is my 16th year in education. I've kind of played all the roles, not all, but a lot of the roles. I definitely served some time in the classroom, loved being in the classroom. And then I became an instructional coach at the district level and was able to work with multiple campuses. The year of COVID, I became the coordinator of digital learning, which also ended up being a virtual admin role for me for a year. And then I also do some other random things like the esports coordinator. So lots of things in education. Throughout that entire 16-year span, Smart has been part of it. And so I love Lumio. I'm invested in Lumio. I actually got to experience my first smartboard when I was still student teaching 17 years ago. So very excited to be here and to present today. A couple of things about me outside of this. I'm married to the law, quite literally. My husband's a police officer. I have 3 kiddos. One of them is 17. I call him my bonus boy. Married into that one. And then I have a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old. And if I'm not working, if I'm not chauffeuring my kids to all of their things, I like to be outside. Like I said, I'm from West Texas. We get very few days around here where you can't be outside. And so I really enjoy being outside. So that's just a little bit about me. Um, I am curious to know, in your role that you're in, what is one of the challenges that you face when you're checking for understanding or looking for feedback? What are the things that you're seeing in the classroom or in the role that you're in that are providing a stumbling block there? So maybe as we go, we can see how Lumio can support some of those areas. So drop that in the chat. Um, and maybe Tisha can help us with some of the things that we're seeing repetitively so that maybe we can point some of those out as we go.
Yes, I'm going to pop them on the screen, Carrie. And since we have a little intermission here, I just want to address a couple of things. So some people are saying that they can't see the video, but they maybe can hear us. So if you are on school Wi-Fi, it's possible that StreamYard may be blocked. Just know, one, that we are recording this session. And if you registered, you will get the recording, and it will also be on our YouTube channels after the session recording. And then Sarah has a question. This is a great question, Sarah. She wants to know, do you want them to respond in the chat or in a Lumio?
I love that Sarah's excited to get in Lumio. I want you to respond in the chat right now because we're going to hop in and be kids in just a second, and we're going to play for a minute. So I am going to get you in Lumio in just 1 second, but I wanted to see just a little bit of feedback in the chat for a second. Thank you for
Yes.
asking.
So here's what I'm finding. And Carrie, you know I love talking about feedback. And one of the comments is many adults don't want to provide feedback. There's also difficulty with time giving and receiving feedback. It's difficult to get individualized feedback to every student, as well as challenges not being one-to-one. So not everybody is engaging. So, not having equal devices for everyone. Making quick transitions is a struggle. Michelle says validity. And then Sarah sharing, having feedback easily put into the grade book instantly. I think that is a teacher's dream, Sarah.
Right.
I totally understand this, and I'm just going to toss it in here, Carrie, before I mute myself. But one of the things that I experienced at ISTE, if you're not familiar with ISTE, it's the International Society of Technology Education. It was in San Antonio, Texas, this past summer. And I actually presented a session on feedback and reflection. I've written about feedback and reflection. One of the things that happened during that session, it was a new teacher. So maybe, 2 years into teaching. And she came up and said, I'm so glad that you're talking about feedback and reflection, because this entire time I thought I was the only one to miss out on how to do that with other teachers and with my students. And that highlighted for me a need. And with so many people in the chat and registering for the session, your session right here and the information you're going to give is it's going to be very beneficial. So I'm muting and I'm going to let you carry on.
Perfect. I'm excited. I love some of the feedback that we're getting, and know that you're not alone. We hear the same thing within my district. Time is huge, right? And we have so many things to do all the time that it's hard to give feedback sometimes. Making it relevant feedback, making it important enough for kids to want the feedback, right? And then also, when is one-to-one feedback good? When is peer feedback good? When can you just make it a collaborative piece so that you're instantly getting feedback? So a lot of those pieces we see as well. And hopefully by the end of this session, you will have some ideas of ways that you can address some of those easily in your classroom without taking much more of your time. So thank you for all the comments. All right. We already talked about this a little bit, but we're going to explore some of the feedback tools. We're going to find some quick and easy ways to check for understanding. We're going to learn how we can adjust as we go, because not only do we need to give feedback, but we get feedback, right? Our kids are giving us feedback as we teach. They're telling us, I don't understand what you're saying, or you messed that up. And so we may need to adjust as we go. And then hopefully today you leave with something that you can use, something that's helpful in your role. So that's kind of my goals for today. We are going to start with some feedback tools. And in order for you to see these, I want you to see them as a kid first. I'm going to go through them pretty quick this first route. Please know that I just want you to see them. I want you to experience them. And then after we go through the kid side of it, we're going to go over to the teacher side and you can see how you can create these things as well. Okay. So I'm going to pop this out right here. And you can join with lumioclass.com. And my class code is 288221. And I'm sure Tisha will be dropping that in the chat for you as well. But it's lumioclass.com. Perfect. And then when it asks you to enter, you can just select that you're a guest. And you're going to do 288221. I'm going to give you just a second so that a few of you can join. If you're not where you can join, that is perfectly okay. I've got a student side also pulled up over here so that I can show you what the student side looks like as well. And that way you can see it if you're not able to join me. So it's growing. We've got 21 kids. So you'll see that the teacher side is showing on my screen. If you're able to see both at the same time, the teacher side is showing here. I see how many students are joining right here as you join. And that little pop-up is embedded right over here. So I went through 4 of my slides before I ever asked my kids to join, right? And so I can do that whole class. And then whenever I'm ready for kids to join, I'm just coming over here and there's a pop-out box right here. And I'm going to have that pop out, okay? It's also helpful if you have a kid that shows up late. I know you don't ever have kids that show up late, but just in case that one does one time. Okay, now that we have some in, I want to show you a few things, okay? I'm going to keep going. This is an activity, and students can fill in the blank, right? So this is a quick way for students to get immediate feedback. I created just a couple of sentences, pulled out some blank spots, and if you're a student on my lesson right now, you're able to play. You just hit start, and you can drag words in and drop them. If it's right, it will give you a check mark. If it's wrong, it will shoot it back out. So immediate feedback for kids, and they can repeatedly do this. So I drop all my answers in. I got them all right. Okay, then it's going to give me the options. Do you want to review it or do you want to reset it? If I reset it, I can keep playing. So you could build this for your vocabulary lessons. You could build this for something that you've gone over in class that you just need them to repeat and have some extra skills on. So a great way for kids to get some immediate feedback. Okay. The next one that I want to show you, I'm fixing to move it. I'm going to give you a countdown. Ready? 3, 2, 1. That's for my people like me that need to finish the things, right? The next one I'm going to show you is a student handout. So the teacher screen, I'm going to be able to see what you're doing. On your screen, you have a start button. When you click start, right? All it is a PDF that I created with some boxes, right? So you can type in it, you can write in it, you can add some pictures or whatever you need to, but I gave 2 simple questions just so you could see what it looked like, okay? So just an easy way for students to respond, okay? What I like on this is I'm going to open up the teacher side of it, and I am going to pick on somebody. Let's see if I recognize a name so that I don't pick on anybody that doesn't mind it. I'm going to, oh, I thought it might be. I'm going to say that this might be Candace. Yes, it is. Thank you, Candace. The reason I know it's her is because she put Raider Power right there in that box, and we are from Lubbock, and we have Texas Tech here. But if I wanted to, I open up a student's thing. I just take a quick glance. And guys, I'm just going to come over here and grab a sticker and drop it on there. And Candace gets that immediate feedback. I love what you're doing, right? I also could just grab my pen and say, I'm writing with my mouse right now, but I could say, great, right? And I can give immediate feedback on a student work right there. And she's getting that live. So as she's working on the document, I can give her feedback on the document.
Okay, can I just stop there, Carrie? Because first of all, I want to say welcome to anybody that has joined a little bit late. We're so glad to have you. We have one question about your font, and I just want to say everybody in the chat is like, Sue's like, you can pick me. I love how excited you all are. I also want to share with all of you, speaking of feedback, if you do have feedback for the Lumio team, I have put a link in the chat in response to some feedback that we've gotten already from an attendee, but you can share feedback with the Lumio team at any time. That is our user voice link. I will put that in the chat as well. And then lastly, Carrie, here's what I want to say. Sometimes when we think about feedback and reflection for students or even each other or even ourselves, we think and overcomplicate and overthink what it has to look like. And the way that you have showed how easy this one piece is with this individual student handout, which is the most popular use case of Lumio among so many teachers, it's so easy. And she's seeing it, right? Candace saw it as you were giving her that feedback, which helps. So my question is, and you may be getting to this sooner, but I saw somebody ask, how do you do that for so many people? Because even just that is very time consuming. Sure. So you're going to get to that, aren't you?
I am.
Okay.
So one of the things that's great here is I'm on Candace's page right now, and I'm going to take a chance here, but because I don't know who's next, but I can just scroll right here and I can see the next one. And I can, oh no, we saw an Aggie.
We saw an Aggie.
Yes. And so I can see the next one and I can quickly grab one of those and be like, oh, that makes me sad, right? And then I can just keep going. Okay. So I'm able to real easily scroll through these. However, I don't have to do that either. Okay. I can also, when I get done with this, I'm going to have all of these, right? I can come back to the session and look at them later. So if I need to come back to these later, I can also do that. But I can also just give the kids a minute to work, and then I can open my teacher handout here and I can demo what my expectation was. And that gives them some immediate feedback and lets them have the opportunity to go back and correct theirs if they weren't on task or weren't doing what the expectation was. So I got a whoop in the chat. That cracked me up a little bit. So that is some great ways that you can do that. Super easy way to just give a little bit of quick feedback. And you don't always have to give feedback to every kid, right? You can pick and choose a few that you know might need some feedback, and maybe a few that you feel like, oh, you know what? I haven't said anything to you in a while. I'm going to pick on you for a second, right? So that is a student handout. Remember, we're going to come back to all of these, okay? The next one that you're going to see is a group space, okay? So as a teacher, I've got a button I've got to click. So right now it says your teacher isn't ready on your screen, right? I'm going to hit setup. I'm going to pick how many people I want in a group, and it's going to group them for me. I'm going to assume that everybody gets along, okay? But if I didn't, I could move some people around. So if I needed to, I could move some kiddos around. And I'm going to hit start. And what that's going to do is that's going to let you work with other people from your class. Okay, so now you've got 9 people in your group and y'all are all editing on that same document. I still have, as a teacher, the ability to click into those workspaces and see what they're doing. So team 1 hasn't started yet. That's okay. Let's see what team 2 has done. Oh, they haven't started, but I did see that as I was leaving, team 1's got a sticker dropped in. Right? So somebody decided they would rather chaperone a dance than supervise indoor recess. So you can
I'm interested to see these results personally because I'm not sure who's choosing the indoor recess on a rainy day. That's a lot, y'all. Although, yes, I'm a high school teacher, so of course I'm going to choose the dance.
Yes. See, I'm watching group 2 right now, and I've got a heart that can't decide, and probably just going to stick right there in the middle with, I'm going to hope I'm absent and sick that day and don't have to do either, right?
That's funny.
So same type idea as a teacher. I'm able to go in and see what's happening. But the awesome thing about this one is with the collaborative workspace, you're working with your teammates. So you're getting feedback, whether it be intentional feedback or not, you're getting feedback while you work with your classmates. People are either saying, like, I like that, or maybe they're just adding to your thoughts and it's building up somebody else's knowledge. So group workspaces there is a great way to also provide some collaboration and some pieces.
Carrie, I'm coming back in because I like to reflect on this, but what I love that you said is it helps build that team, right? That collaborative thinking. But I'm also thinking of it in aspects of your neurodivergent learners, right? So I am a neurodivergent learner. If I'm in a group, I kind of want to share my thoughts, but I don't want it to be all on me. I don't want to just be the one singled out. So I love this because as people are adding, it's helping my brain think through the topic and maybe see a different perspective that I haven't thought of before, right? So I think this is so powerful. And the fact that you can put them in groups very easily, it's one of my favorite ways. We actually use this, as you know, we use this on the Lumio team when we're doing team meetings. We use these collaborative spaces to come up with strategies and discussion points and coming up with visions or, mission statements and things like that. So there's so much to be said with this particular activity. I love it.
So I was in a 5th grade classroom one year, and they were some rowdy kiddos, and there was a lot of boys, and they were fun, but they were loud. And I used this as my silent group work. And so they didn't have to sit next to each other. They didn't have to be rambunctious and off topic. Everybody had their own space, but they were all working and collaborating together. And I loved it because I could check in on them as they were going. But they were able to also doing that.
I mean, and think about this. Sarah made a great point in the chat. She loves that students are getting the feedback, not just from teachers, but also their peers. And then if you dive a little bit deeper, Sarah, on that, wouldn't you say that the teachers are also receiving feedback on their lesson through the activity and the student engagement? I feel like it's a self-reflection activity even for students without us knowing it.
For sure. I agree with that totally. Okay. I'm going to move again. So if you're not ready, just be prepared. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I'm going to move into a little bit of a different idea or concept, right? Everything that we just looked at was something that kids could do. We could provide some immediate feedback, but we also sometimes need a grade, right? Or sometimes we need to check, do you really understand what's happening here? Or we might need student feedback from like a shout it out, a KWL type thing. So I'm going to look at those real quick and let you see what that might look like in Lumio. So the first one is a response. So this is Lumio's most assessment type tool, right? And I put that in quotes because I feel like it can still be very interactive and can still be fun, but it is going to give you a response and a grade for kids, right? And so immediate grades for kids, you can use their new built-in tools to help you create questions. You don't have to have all of the questions, but you can also copy and paste. And then we're going to look here in a minute at the library where you can find things that are already made for you. So on the response tool, you should have gotten a page that says open. You are able to click in there and answer questions. I think I did a multiple choice, a true false. I did some multiple selects, so you can select more than one answer. And I think I ended it with an open answer, an open-ended question. So you can see the different question types there and what that looks like. On the teacher side, in my teacher dashboard that I have open right now, I can click student progress And I'm not going to see answers right here. It's not going to display the kids' responses, but I'm going to see the percentage of questions that were answered, right? I can click on show questions and I can see the percentage of people that have actually answered each question. Okay. So if I wanted to see, like, most people have answered question 1, a few less on question 2. If I keep going, I'm assuming these percentages are going to drop because we're going in order, right? So we can see that. When I get to an open-ended question, I love this. I get a word cloud, right? The things that are popping up the most are going to get bigger, but I'm seeing all of those responses in a word cloud. So love that. And then at the end, right here, like when I get done, I hit end and review, and I can actually see results based on each one of those questions. So it stopped you from taking the assessment. Sorry, I didn't give you a warning. But it stopped you from taking the assessment. And now I can see on question 1, most people said A. If I was going to address something, it might be the ones that didn't answer, or C. There was quite a few that said C, right? Most people got true on that one. A lot of people selected those 3 answers, so I can see what happened there. So you can just see your results. You can see your word cloud there. And then down here, your export, that word was hard to come out today. Export results will actually give you your students, their grades, what questions they got right, what they answered, all of those pieces.
Okay, Carrie, I just have to tell you, first of all, you were such a fun teacher because I went through so 2 things here. I went through your quiz and I am dying laughing at the different choices, and I was choosing the wrong thing on purpose. For example, the most common reason teachers are drinking coffee is to impress parents with fancy mugs. It's so relatable as a teacher. And then the second thing, I'm going to ask a question for all the attendees. Maybe they didn't know that they had this question, but if I was an attendee not working with you on this, I would say, Carrie, as a tech coach, I would really like to have the teacher link to this Lumio session. So my question for you is, are you willing to share your Lumio teacher file out with the attendees before the session is over so that they can use it maybe with their own teachers?
It is ready for you, and a link is ready for you if you hold on with me for just a minute.
Awesome. Okay.
I am so excited to share. Yes. So if you're having to leave early, perfectly understand, but Tisha is recording, and so the link will be included and you'll get the resources. You can definitely have my presentation as well. So happy to share that. All right. So that was a response, right? I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. This is a monster quiz, right? So when I hit start for the class, it is going to put you in teams. I'm going to put you in big teams. It's going to give you fun names. This is probably our students' favorite piece of Lumio, I would say. And it is going to count you down and give you a quiz, okay? Now, I know you're excited to go answer all the questions. I'm going to keep talking to you while you're doing it so that it slows you down a little bit. But as you're taking that quiz, think about this. This is a great way to assess student knowledge. This is a great exit ticket. I can throw 4 questions into a quick monster quiz, and this is what we do on our way out the door at the end of the day. And you're going to see in just a second when I end the quiz that as a teacher, I get the results. I can see where we struggled on these questions. I can see what we need to go and address the next day. So quick way for me to get some check for understanding pieces from my class. Okay, I'm going to give you a countdown. I know you're having fun. I see it happening.
I'm giving them more time though, Carrie, because I want to say this.
Okay.
I always talk about these lessons in the way that a Lumio lesson isn't one and done. And I think your topic it really speaks to that, right? Like you just said, we can do this now with our students and then we can come back to it. And then also your students may want to debate one of the correct answers with you. And so I would say, Carrie, I think when I'm using slang language with my students, it might make my lesson more effective because they might listen to me better, right? But I just think there's so much to say here with this, putting them in teams, and you can see they're still going. Everybody wants to finish. Isn't that interesting?
Of course. Yes. Everybody wants to play. Okay. You ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm ending it. Okay. So you see the Frostbiters won. Or I'm sorry, I am playing as a kid over here. So I was on the Frostbiters. It's going to say, well done, right? As the teacher, it tells me that the Cartoon Crunchers won. Okay. If I hit review, I'm going to see how much time was spent, right? I can do a class review. I love this piece of Lumio. The class review is going to let us walk through all those questions. Now we can look at the questions. We can talk about them as a class. We can discuss what the right answer was, right? But I also have that export results button. So I can get how each student did on those questions. Okay, this can be a grade. If you need this to be a grade, it could be a grade, but it can also just be a quick check of, hey, I've got 5 kids here who didn't get a question right. I'm going to have a conversation on were they not trying or do they not understand, right?
Or are they Odessa and they used AI, right? I was going to say somebody was asking about closed captions and Edge, and I wanted to say check AI. I bet they'll tell you how to do it. But I want to go back again. I want to point this out because this is so important. You just said we can use it as a very quick formative assessment. You also said we could use it as a grade. It's also bringing in that peer-to-peer interaction, the feedback piece that we've already talked about. It's making it more fun, but also it's making it where your students are now critically thinking the content. One of the things I discovered as an educator is if students are critically thinking and critically asking you curious questions about the lesson, I used to take offense to it. And then I started to welcome it because I thought they are thinking through what I'm teaching them and they want to talk about it. And I think that is such an incredible thing here. Love this activity, Carrie. Ugh, you're on a roll. Keep going.
And if you teach secondary and you're like, my secondary kids aren't going to like this, it's too cartoony. For one, they do like it. They just pretend like they don't. But also there is a monster option, a monster quiz that, what is it called? Just quiz, I think, that doesn't have the monster cartoons. And so you can still do the same thing. It's still the engaging activity. It's still putting them in teams. It just takes the cartoony look away from it.
As a secondary teacher and a higher ed teacher at times, here's what I want to say to that. And I know sometimes there is this assumption that Lumio is for elementary only, but I have this theory, just like Sue said, is that everyone, including us on this webinar, we are still kids inside and we want to have moments of creativity and fun. And I think leaning on that is really good as well. Sarah talks about differentiated instruction. So taking the results and breaking your students up into different groups for differentiated instruction. It's such a great plan.
Yes, absolutely. And we've stayed on this for a minute. I want to know, did you recognize on your screen as a student that you got feedback immediately? The program is giving you feedback, right? So I have a student side pulled up so that I can make sure I'm seeing what you see as well. And I didn't answer any questions. So I got feedback of, you skipped this, here's the correct answer, so that they can also see that on their side. So love that. Okay. We're going to keep moving because I want to get all the things in. All right. Here is a shout it out. I love shout it out. And what it's going to do is it is just going to give you the option to hit that open button. And when you hit that open button, you're going to see the question up at the top. What is one phrase you say at least 10 times a day, right? And you're going to type in your answer. I gave you, I think, 3 responses. So you can type in more than once. But as a teacher, I can see all of these answers and I can start grouping them. I can start seeing what's common about them. I can see what my kids know and what my kids don't know. And I have it set right now where I have like a little abbreviation of their name showing. But you can also turn that off in your settings so that it doesn't show the kid's name, and you can have this on your board up front, right? If I pop it out, you'll see that I can highlight an answer. Um, I love that. So a lot of things that we say over and over, right? But I could group them, right? You're a rock star. You're doing great. Let's see, what else did we see? I saw some others. And then we can group some of these like really. How many of us say really over and over? Really? Okay. So this is called a shout it out. It's immediate responses from kids without calling them out in front of everybody. So I love the shout it out. All right. And then the last piece that I want to show you, so you see it as a kid, and then we'll show you how to build some of these pieces, is that you can edit and you can add as you go. So like we talked about when we started, not only do we need to give feedback, sometimes we get feedback and we need to make adjustments, right? So you'll see that as I go, I put in another handout, right? Does anybody know why I might need to edit this? It's a trick. Can you find it? This is what'll happen in class, but it'll take them way less time for them to tell me what I did wrong.
Oh, I don't know this answer, Carrie.
You don't?
I don't. And it's probably because I'm doing two things at once too.
No, you're fine.
A spelling error. Spelling error,
You're
Sarah.
right.
Yep.
Good job, Sarah. So a spelling error, and I'm gonna be like, oh man, that's why I teach math. And so I'm gonna go right here as a teacher, and I'm gonna go edit a session. You're gonna get a screen that says, oh, hold on just a minute, right? So while it says for you to hold on, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna edit this real quick, and I'm gonna fix this. This should be an E, and this should have an E here. And I'm going to finish editing. Got it? Voila! Right? Right then. My kids didn't have to get out of the lesson. They just had to wait a second. It took me 2 seconds to fix the lesson and be right back to teaching, right? And I didn't have to remember to do that at the end of the day after I've been told 400 times by all of my students all day long that it was a spelling error, right? So I love that.
They're going to remind you all day, every class period, for months sometimes.
Every class. They will spell everything on every assignment I give them wrong, but as soon as I spell one word wrong, I'm going to hear about it, right? So great way to edit something as you go. But also sometimes what happens is we get to a lesson like this and we say, hey, find the hypotenuse, and all of our kids give us this blank stare, right? They just look at us like, I don't know what in the world you're talking about. So the other piece that's really cool is I have a plus button, and I can hit this and I can quickly just drop in a whiteboard, and I can, don't judge me for my writing with a mouse here, but I can quickly say, remember, and I can write a few notes, and we can explain some things. We could look at a few more triangles, and we could remember that that's the hypotenuse. We could do a quick little mini lesson. You're still in the same session. I didn't have to stop what we were doing. I'm just going to add to it and add that little extra piece that as we go. So those are two ways that you can also adjust and add to as you get that feedback from kids of I'm not understanding, or you made a mistake, or whatever it is. Or maybe they got it and you need to give them something harder. You need to adjust your teaching as you go. So I love that aspect also. All right. So a few extras. We're going to look at these as we build in just a second. But as I'm getting out of this mode, if you want to just flip over to your tab and watch me for a second, I'm going to show you how we can build some of these pieces and let you see what that looks like. And feel free to drop in the chat what's your favorite piece, or if there's something that you really want to see.
I love, Carrie, that you've added audio because I think audio is such a powerful piece. The accessibility with Lumio is one of my favorite things about the tools and the features within Lumio. Okay, we're creating now, right? We're going into the teacher mind now.
I think I clicked edit. Let's end that session. Okay, so couple of things. I'm going to do this pretty quick, but I want you to see it. Okay, so just watch with me for a second. I am in Lumio. Okay, so you just get here by saying go.lumio, right? And I have that on a slide for you. You're going to get it in just a second. Okay, when you get in, you're going to see my library. These are things that I have created. Okay, you're going to see a Lumio library. So make sure at the top that you recognize there's a whole wealth of resources already built for you. You do not have to start from scratch. I can come in here, I can search for a keyword, I can search by a subject, I can search by a grade level. It's broken into different areas. So if I need a brain break, there's some brain breaks. If you keep going, you've got manipulatives and graphic organizers. Guys, the amount of stuff in this library is insane. It is so great. So there's a library full of things. And then one of the newer features is we have class sessions. So if I've built something in my library and I've given it to kids, right? Now it's in my class session. So this lesson that we just did is right here. Rethink the lesson. I can open it and I can still see everything that y'all did in that lesson. So awesome feature there that they've added. All right, let's build real quick. I'm going to hit new, and I'm going to show you where I got all these things. First thing you see right here, import. This is where I added that PDF where we wrote on a PDF, right? You can add PDFs, notebooks from Smart Notebook, PowerPoints, and Google Slides, all in that area. You can add YouTube videos, and it will keep them within the lesson and not send them out to YouTube, and it will take away the ads, okay? You can add the FET simulations, the Desmos calculators, okay? Underneath that, you're going to see blank pages. You saw me add one of those just a second ago. You're going to see the shouted outs. You did that when you were responding what you say 10 times a day. The smart response, that was the questions, the multiple choice, the multiple select, all of those, okay? And then the game-based activities were all of those fill in the blanks and the monster quiz, all of those are there, and there's more, right? There's way more than I showed you. So all of them are built here. So all you do is you start where you want, right? If I just wanted to start with a game, I start there. When it brings that in, I'm going to start on something else just so that I have time. Let's start with new and just a blank page so that you can see it. It brings that in. It's going to build you a little lesson. Over here on your left-hand side, you've got your plus sign, which will bring that page back so I can add any of those pieces in once I get started. Okay. One of the huge features that I love and I want to make sure I mention is if I drop anything in here, right? So let's say that I drop in a thumbs up. Your little drop down here will also let you add an audio attachment. So I can say, good job for my kids that need to hear my voice, right? Or I can say, like, give instructions. I can also over here is where my magic wand is, and that is how I can make this an individual handout or a group workspace or a whole class whiteboard. So options there, love them. Okay, so easy to build. Here's your fonts. So those of you that were asking, once you click on the fonts, drop down, and the one I was using was, I think I was using Special Elite. And then once you get it in there, just drag it. Okay. So that is how you can go in and build. Once you get it built, you hit finish editing. And then from your library, you're just going to start anew. and that's how you get your kids to join. So I know that was super fast, but I think we have just like a couple minutes left, and I wanted to leave a little bit of time to answer questions. And also, I want to make sure to give you the resources that are at the end of this. So let me get to those so you will have all the links.
Carrie, I've already done all of that for you. I put the link to Carrie's Lumio teacher link is in the chat. Your certificate survey is also in the chat. I've also put the Lumio YouTube channel in the chat because, as Carrie said, getting started with Lumio, she kind of went through it very quickly. There are plenty of videos on our YouTube. Mish has done a wonderful job. You are going to be able to find getting started with Lumio fairly easily. If you can't find it, you can always reach out to me. If you have issues with Carrie's teacher link, you can reach out to her as well. Carrie, where can they find you? Do you have that on your slide, your intro slide?
I can definitely give it to you, and I will go put it on there. So if you haven't added it to your library, let me go use my teaching strategies that I just taught you. And right here, I will add my email address and how you can find me on socials.
Yes, that'd be great. We want you all to get connected to each other, whether you are a community member or an ambassador. Of course, I've put the links to join the ambassador community in the chat as well. I'll be hanging out here for a little bit, just capturing some of your feedback and your comments. But if you have questions for Carrie before she leaves us, we want you to ask them now. Or if you have feedback for Carrie in the chat, if there's something that resonated with you, for you, that helps you, something that you're going to take back to your classroom, we'd love to hear about that in the chat as well. And just a reminder, you will get the recording of this. It will also be on our YouTube channel at Lumio Social. You can reach out to me, Tisha Poncio at smarttech.com anytime. I'll also put that in the chat for you as well. If you have any questions at all on anything regarding community. And I do just want to shout out really quickly before I have Carrie answer this question. Our academy has gone through a makeover in a sense. And so you're going to be seeing some new courses. I've been working with the team on some new courses, maybe some AI, maybe that. So Beatrice says, can Lumio be used with a digital board in the classroom?
Absolutely. So Lumio can be used anywhere with anything. It is web-based. So you can use Lumio we've got teachers using it on their smart boards. We've got teachers using it on just a plain board. We've got other interactive boards that we're utilizing. We also are using Chromebooks. We're using desktops. We're using iPads. We have all the things within our district, and we use Lumio across all of them. So definitely very user-friendly. One of the awesome things about Lumio is you can open a session from multiple places so that you can have it on your board, but also on your teacher device, and you can have the teacher side up on your teacher device and have the kids also seeing that piece on the board. So you can use it across all the platforms.
I think that's what I love about it, right? It isn't limited to your device, your location, even what your role is as an administrator, a tech coach, a teacher. You could even use it in a PE classroom, right? I feel like it spans all.
PE classroom.
Yeah. And even some higher ed classrooms. I've worked with several professors at university who are teaching teachers, right? And they want to show them different tools. So it spans across all over the world. Anybody can use it. We love that. You guys are incredible. Carolyn, you are great. Thank you for joining us. Nia, also appreciate you. All of you who've joined today, thank you so much for giving us so much of your time. We know that your time is valuable. And if you are interested in presenting as an ambassador, I have scheduled already through February. So we are going to have ambassadors once a month doing an ambassador-led session. If you would like to join the likes of Carrie, email me, let me know what your topic is. Let me know what month you'd like to sign up for, and we'd love to have you. Carrie, any last words for anybody who attended? Any advice you want to give as we sign off?
No, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I appreciate it. It was a fun session. I hope you got something that you can take away. And I would love to hear about it. So leave feedback.
Yes. Post on social media. I believe, Carrie, have you put your
Yes.
things in the chat? Perfect. So
I went ahead and I'll put it in the chat as well. But I went ahead and added it to the session that we were working in.
Awesome.
So that it would be there as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Share your stories of success with Lumio. If Carrie has hit anything that you've found that works, please tag us on social media, #GoLumio, and tag us on all socials at Lumio Social. Carrie, you're incredible. Thank you so much for sharing the stage and sharing your wisdom and experience with Lumio today. I have had such a great time with you, and we'll see you all again very soon. Bye.
Bye.